Good afternoon, everybody. This is Joy Lacheray. I'm your host today. Unfortunately, I'm having difficulty with YouTube, so I will have to upload that after the interview, and you will find it there. Please subscribe when you do go in. As for matured musicians, I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsor, Luscious Moss Studio, owned and operated by Chad Christ in Edgewood, Washington. You can find him on Facebook. He creates a very creative, collaborative environment in his studio. I record there, and um, he definitely has the setup and good sound. And I'm sure if you have any needs, he can help you. Just look on Facebook, go into the search, and you'll find him there. Our guest today is Casey Freedom. I cannot pronounce his last name. Hi, Casey.
That's why I went with the stage name. Yeah, my wife's name was her last name was Freedom. My last name was Izdebski, and we
That's
hyphenated. And when I was playing music a bunch of Snohomish, I believe it was Dave Krantz had started saying, "Oh, Casey Freedom Band." I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds way better. I'll go with Casey Freedom. A little
yeah, it
easier to
is. It's
spell."
a lot easier. So, um, I do want to ask you. I don't know much about you, Casey. I've seen you. I loved your music, and came out to
Yes.
a few gigs. So you were at Duval once when I was there at the
Mhm.
Twin Dragon. So, what is the history? Your history of when? What kind of instrument did you start with, and how old were you, and how did it progress?
I started music relatively early, mostly just with singing, and I, I have a feeling there's always a piano around, piano or keyboard. And I started with choirs. I was a choir kid my whole
Ah,
life,
yeah.
and so by first grade I was pretty into it, and had a good music teacher, and yeah, just did nonstop choir and stuff. A lot of singing, harmonizing, learning how to read music from a
Right.
fairly young age. Um, and I would tinker on piano as well, or play
Right.
recorder in elementary school. I don't think I really seriously looked at piano till probably, I don't know, probably like 8 or 9, maybe a little
Oh,
bit older.
well, that's pretty young.
But I was basically playing by ear. I wasn't really reading at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, there's nothing wrong with playing by ear. I think a lot of musicians do, and it's really a good skill to have if you're trying to play with people and listen to what notes they're playing when you don't know their music, right?
right, right. Yeah, it get me into trouble a few times with a couple lessons. They say you didn't practice. You played the song right, but did you just sight read that whole
Oh,
thing? Did you memorize this part? Oh, maybe. So that's yeah, it's helpful these days.
I got it. I think I didn't turn my comments on here. Ah, there we go. I don't see anybody yet, but just be sure to keep an eye on that screen for me, Casey.
Okay.
Anyway, well, after you were 8 or 9 years old and you started not practicing but playing by ear, where did you go from there? When was your first gig or first open performance with people actually in the audience?
Well, I think there was a lot of choral performances from a relatively young age. Just school stuff. But I think I'd have to ask my folks. But I believe in middle school there was definitely some like camps, music camps,
Yes,
jazz camps, things like that, where we would do something outside of a
right.
normal school performance. So
Moving on
probably
from
by like
that.
10.
Oh my gosh, what did you do during your teen years? Were you into music then?
Yeah, totally. Trying to remember. I was always in like one or two choirs at a time. Um, and when I was, I think, 12, my mom got me an electric guitar.
Oh, cool.
And I kind of taught myself how to play uh, for a couple years there before doing lessons. But yeah, that was the first time I started messing with guitar, I think. Like, I think my mom probably had an acoustic around or a nylon guitar, but I don't remember tinkering on it. I think it was more of just like the timing of friends getting into rock bands and stuff. listening to a lot of grunge and, like 90s grunge stuff around Seattle. So it was like, oh, electric guitar. Awesome.
So you're from this area? Is that so? You were here a teenager during that time, or?
Yeah, I was born and raised. I was born in Seattle and grew up in like North Seattle, Shoreline,
Right.
and then Linwood area,
Yeah.
and eventually up over to Edmonds.
Oh, okay. Is that a good place these days?
Yeah. I'm not in Edmonds anymore, but yeah, it hasn't changed the whole time.
Still in this local area, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what was who is your inspiration, or was there anybody that was an inspiration that made you say, "Boy, I really want to get into this and do something with it"?
Well, it's kind of weird because with singing and with choirs, it was just second nature. It was just like theater, choir, singing is just natural. I was always involved. My older sister was always involved in singing in choirs as well. But that was like my normal setting. Outside of that, things like playing guitar, that was a different deal. I think in sixth grade, I remember I had a teacher that was heavily involved with music, and he would publish music and he would write and stuff. And we recorded an album like in the classroom. And I remember having talks with him very vividly. I have memories of talking with him about, he specifically was like, you would like to play guitar. And I was like, okay. And he wasn't wrong. And he could tell that I was interested in recording and singing, and he recommended playing guitar. And I think that's always kind of bounced around in the back of my head for sure. It was so basically music teachers, not necessarily like instructors for lessons, but like school.
Right.
School was not, I was not great in school settings basically ever. But in music class, I would do quite well.
Yeah.
And so that was like my safe place. Where I wouldn't get into too much trouble, and it's okay to be loud and bounce off the walls.
Right.
And so I have fond memories of school and music teachers for that reason.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I don't have so fond memories. All they wanted me to do is do this metronome thing, and I hate that. Well, anyway, we do have somebody who made a comment. Here is Cammie. Now I recognize her, Cammie. Hi, Cammie.
I saw Cammie last night. We were talking about doing some gigs maybe soon.
All right.
We played some together.
Good to have you, Cammie. She was an interviewee on our program a few weeks back, and I didn't recognize her, but I do now. You can find her every Sunday night at the Little Red Hen. Yeah, I'm not sure where that's at. What did they say that? What town that's in? Casey, do you know?
Would you call it Greenwood or Green Lake?
Green Lake, maybe Green Lake. Okay. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so moving from there, when was your first gig?
Whoa. Like I said, it's different. I was always in choral performances and competitions. I played a few gigs like for fun with friends, I guess, in high school. But oh man, like with a guitar, I don't know if they would count as shows. There was a few like house shows in high school where friends would play. I'd say probably college.
Yeah,
probably college.
What'd you take in college? Did you take music?
Yeah, so I ended up going down to the University of Oregon in Eugene. I had been taking guitar lessons from age like 14 to 18, and I took a little break because I kind of messed up my wrists probably from skateboarding. And I was playing guitar like 4 hours a day, and I just kind of overdid it, I think. So I took a little break, and then I got into music school. Down at the University of Oregon for guitar. And I went down there with the idea of becoming a guitar major without totally knowing what the heck that meant. And it was fun. And I learned a lot of jazz chords and how to play in a recording setting. and I still have that knowledge to an extent. And but yeah, I did that for a couple of years when I started realizing like, whoa, there's not many people that make it to the end of this program.
Yes.
And so I made it about halfway or so before I sort of switched gears to a general music degree, and that relieved a lot of pressure. I was
Yeah.
able to get back into vocal lessons for the first time in years, and I got into some choirs at the collegiate level, like really good choirs, and I was able to go part-time for a few years. So it took me a while to get through school. It's about 8 years for a 4-year degree. But I had
Well,
fun. Yeah, I had fun. I was
you
able to
did
do it
it.
at my own pace. I did it. I played in some bands and things. So that's where I'd have
Right.
gigs,
Well, it
I'd
really
say.
shows. So, what kind of
Mm.
music were you drawn to, and what kind of music were you doing during this period of time? I mean, not choir music. That's kind of
Right.
an open field there.
I'd kind of ran the gamut and like learned all the 60s, 70s rock standards on guitar. And
Ah,
so I was more geared towards rock and blues. I was a big fan of Jimi Hendrix for a couple of years there because it was a kind of a crossover for
yeah,
jazz and
yeah.
rock. And um, when I was in some bands, it was more like indie rock. I guess you call it post rock, like instrumental bands.
I don't know what that
Um,
is, but
yeah, it's just loud.
I
So
do loud.
it's like
That's a good way.
post punk, like I don't know. But that was fun because it kind of got me in this totally different element where instead of it being a regimented thing with rehearsals and
Yeah.
schedules and all of a sudden it's a free for all, and there's like 4 dudes in a rehearsal room, drinking beers to learn songs. It's just totally different.
The drinking beers part was the good part, right?
Yeah, it's a super serious rehearsal time, and then it's like 5 hours later we did 3 songs, and then we had to play shows. And I usually played keyboard actually in that band, in the first few bands I was in college. Sometimes guitar as well.
Do you
But
play the
not
keyboard
singing
in
so
your
much fun.
shows now?
No.
No,
No, I
I've
haven't really
never seen
played
you.
keyboard. Yeah, I haven't played it regularly in a long time. I'm not great at it.
That's why I don't play the piano or keyboard. No
I
better.
kind of play the piano like it's a good drum set or something. I play it like it's a guitar, so I really like
Yeah,
hammer it
yeah,
in.
yeah.
So it's not the easiest for me. It's fun, but I've got behind me. I've got a Fender Rhodes suitcase piano. That I've played that on some recordings and recent recordings. But yeah, I like never play piano out. It's too scary.
Yeah. I have another commenter on here. You need to leave us your name. We can't see you. All we, if there's a little control somehow when you come in, I don't know if it's not there for you guys or what, but if you leave your name, then we know who you are, so we can greet you. And I do see someone's here with a happy face, so thank you. At least
Cool.
we know you're happy. and do stay tuned because Casey's going to play, I think, some music for us later on. And we're going to be listening to that. And hopefully, what are you going to play, Casey? Have you thought about it or?
A little bit. I'll come back to that.
Okay. All right. So after you got out of college, did you start playing? You're kind of most of the time that I see you, you're a lone player. You're playing your own leads and your own licks and your own music, right? And what would you say that is now? It's not. There's rock there, but there's also bluegrass, country, and I'm not sure.
I'm not sure some days either. Well, I learned a tiny bit of like actual bluegrass, like old time when I was in college. I actually had some friends in a band called Water Tower. They were called Let's see, when I met them, I think they were called the Water Tower Bucket Band, Water Tower Bucket Boys. And that was amazing and chaotic to me because with those circles of musicians, everyone would play every instrument. It was like, huh? And so they play a little bit of fiddle, you know, a little bit of bass, a little bit of guitar, maybe some harmonica, maybe a jaw harp, maybe a banjo, maybe a little mandolin, and just kind of pass around.
Yeah.
So I really only sat it a couple of times, but I did pick up a few licks or whatever. And I always like listening to that stuff. And I didn't learn a ton about bluegrass. And I would say with like the country stuff, I'd say about 20 after college, I honestly kind of burnt myself out again. And I had to take like a year off music. It was kind of strange for me because, like I said, I've always been in choirs, performances, musical theater, just always going.
Right.
So I took a break when I got out of school because I really kind of overdid it in like the academic sense.
Right.
My brain was fried. So I took a break for, you know, a while. And I'd say, I think it was like maybe somewhere between 2014, 2015, I picked up a guitar again. And I started playing some Neil Young and started, relearning some old stuff that I considered folk, like John Denver and stuff.
Yeah,
Stuff
that's
I
where
grew
I
up
come
listening
from,
to.
the folk genre.
And so I started playing that, and then I realized, oh shoot, this guitar is kind of beat up. It's not sounding great and whatever. And my wife was extremely supportive and was like, well, let's save up for you to get a real guitar again. Yeah, I love the Rhodes too, Cami.
I'm glad you saw that.
So I saved up for, I'd say 6 months and went down to Eugene and got a nice acoustic. It's the same one I have now.
What kind of? I don't even know what it is.
Oh yeah. So it's just like it's a cutaway. It's a Taylor.
I've heard Manny. I don't know if you know Manny Moraes, but he has a Taylor, and they sound really beautiful if you get the right one.
Yeah, and so I was going off of feel and sound. It's a 310 cutaway, so it's not like super fancy or nothing, but it's not super entry level either. It was like the first time I had like a grown-up instrument, basically. And so that made it a lot easier to get back into playing and singing with the guitar and combining those. Frankly, I hadn't done a whole lot of that because I was so focused on either just guitar or just choir or what have you. So really started combining those, learned a bunch of those folk standards again. You know, this stuff I learned when I was 16, 15, but then I was, 30. And so it's like learning them maybe the right way, finally, and playing along with vinyl records and like really just kind of slowing it down and getting comfortable in my own skin and with my singing voice with a loud guitar. And then I was playing for a while, sort of did some open mics, didn't really do open mics until I moved up to Lake Stevens in 2015. I started going to the Oxford Saloon, and I spent a good year or two there, getting up my nerve again, and getting
Did you go
stage
to
presence and all
Tuesday,
that.
Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday?
The acoustic one, Tuesdays.
Tuesdays. Yeah, they didn't have a country one on Mondays for a while. Lyle Runley. Yeah, he was.
I remember Lyle ran the Tuesday one for a little bit too, but yeah, I was just kind of getting my feet wet, learning songs.
Yeah.
And I quickly realized that, well, in Snohomish, a lot of people do what I would consider music in like the Americana sphere. Yeah. So a little country, a little folk. And so to play along with those dudes, I had to learn some of those songs. Stuff I was familiar with, I just never learned it. Right. And you fast forward a few years later, it's like, oh, I like some of the stuff more than I thought. And then it's like, oh, now I know a few hours of material. And so it just kind of naturally progressed where all of a sudden I was doing more stuff that was kind of pulling away from folk, a little bit more country. But I grew up on all that rock and everything, so I have to play that stuff still, or the grunge or whatever. Yeah. So I do bounce around a little bit. That keeps it interesting for me. Keeps it exciting.
Yeah,
I'm
I
always
hear that.
changing my sets. Yeah.
What was your first gig where you went out and you did your solitary gig?
Ooh,
Versus
I
you?
think it was. I maybe it was like 2017, 2018. I'd say 2018 Dreadnought Brewing in
Yeah,
Monroe. I
yeah,
think that might have been the first
the Dreadnought.
ripping the band-aid off, like gonna play for 2 hours by myself.
They
It
have
was
a
fun.
jam now on Wednesdays. Do you know H.R.
Oh,
Thurman?
I do know HR.
Yeah, he's gonna run. He's been running. He's been doing Friday nights, but they
Right,
decided
right.
to take bands in there. So he's doing the Wednesday night. I
Oh,
believe
okay.
it starts at 6 p.m. to 9, but I'm not
Okay.
100% sure, and that could be 7 to 9.
Mhm.
Anyway, just heads up on that. But yeah, I go out to Dreadnought every now and then, but they have had electrical problems. So the
Oh
last time I
no.
was there, it was so cold. I went home and I had to get under an electric blanket to thaw out.
I'm kind of low grade, so I wouldn't mind if it's cold,
Well,
but
yeah, well,
as long as
they
the
fixed
sound's
it.
working.
Yeah, they fixed it. So the first one starts Wednesday night. I can't
Okay.
make it, but I hope to get out there again.
Okay.
So anyway, that kind of you've been doing the solo acts in wineries and breweries
Hmm.
and that kind of thing. And I saw your clip. I put your video out there. You with the guy that played mandolin.
Oh
And,
yeah.
yeah,
Those are those
that
guys I
was
was talking about that I met in college all these
oh
years later. Yeah, so the guy that was kind of wild on the mandolin in the leather
right,
jackets.
yeah.
Yeah, so his name is Kenny, and he's from that band Water Tower.
Oh,
And
he's still
we
there.
went to guitar school together when we were wee children. And he's been in LA grinding away, building up his band, his
Yeah.
brand, you name it.
So he's the lead for his band.
Yeah, and him and a few of his, well, at the time, yeah, it was his full band. Last year came up and actually recorded some with me.
Wow.
So on some of my recent recordings, you'll hear those dudes.
Where do we find that? I haven't seen anything. I was looking on YouTube, but do you put
Oh
them there?
yeah, yeah. So I'm on YouTube under, I think it might be called like Casey Freedom Music.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see if we
and
can
I'm on
find it.
Spotify and Apple Music.
Yeah.
I have 3 songs so far.
Okay.
Yeah, those first, actually, on all 3 of those, you'll hear a combination of some of those musicians. And they're hardcore bluegrass and old time musicians. So,
Well, I was trying to find your stuff, and all I saw was the one you sent me. So I'm gonna have
I
to
need
go
to,
back now.
I need to, yeah, get that fixed up. Yeah, it's out there, but it does. Yeah, I don't know. On YouTube, it is kind of sleepy. It doesn't pick up immediately.
Yeah.
It does on like Spotify and stuff.
Okay. And your website, do you have one or are we?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's caseyfreedom.com. I've got some of those videos on there.
Oh, I'm gonna look at that one too.
Yeah, I've got some audio on there. I have a calendar it's not very full right now. I don't have a ton of gigs. I had a bunch of gigs last year, and I went on a tour in August. But I have some gigs on there and like a bio, maybe a
Yeah.
little bit more information. But yeah, caseyfreedom.com.
So I'll have to look that up, Casey. I miss all that. I was like, wow, where have I been? I think
Yeah, I don't even know if it's all on my Facebook. I'll have to check and see if I
yeah.
got that figured out. I don't know.
I took 2 weeks off over Christmas and New Year's, and you're my first
Yeah.
one, 2023, Casey.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So I understand you're going to play for us, and so
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a little bit about COVID before we do that,
Okay.
and ask you what were your thoughts and what was it
Ooh.
like before and after? What were you doing?
Let's see. I'm trying to remember the before. So I've got a day job where I manage a landscape construction
Oh, okay.
business, And that was the first time in a long time when we just kind of all stopped. We stopped what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2 or 3 weeks we didn't have work, which was pretty strange. The right before that, I had a few gigs lined up. I think I had maybe 1 or 2 at the Oxford, nothing crazy. And luckily, I wasn't relying on gigs. Thank God, because that would have been extremely hard. I know a lot of people had a very hard time because of that. I had like 3 gigs. Okay, so those didn't go. And I had a few where I was like, "Ooh, should we be here?" I think I did one.
Yeah.
I think I did one like the day they got, the state mandated. It was like the last day before the world stopped, basically. And I was playing a show in, where was I? I can't remember anymore. It was in South Seattle, and I was like, "That's weird. Why is this bar so empty? Where is everybody?"
Oh.
And then it was kind of like the realization set in. I was like, "Oh, this might be the last gig for like a few weeks or months."
Right.
We had no idea. But I very quickly, relatively quickly, got interested in doing some live streaming stuff. Because what I was afraid of is I had been spending like 2 or 3 years doing these solo gigs, building up stage presence.
Yeah.
And I was afraid I was going to kind of lose my nerve.
Oh,
And
no.
so I went and I contacted a friend that runs a shop. And, hey, do you have any cameras left? And he got like a decent live streaming camera with good audio.
Right.
And I did a lot of live streaming. That was really helpful.
Well, I missed that. I would have watched you if I'd known.
Yeah, there were some late night ones, and I just grab some beers and kind of play to the wall for like 3 or 4 hours. But it was fun. It was interactive. Yeah, it was a good exercise. It was humbling. But it was also, I realized in retrospect, it was extremely good for my voice in that I basically would set the mic up by itself, and that's it. And so I had to sing my butt off to sing over my guitar.
Yeah.
And it helped me a lot, honestly. Yeah. And also playing to a wall, was good to just like,
right.
Putting up with that. It made the second I hopped on a real stage after things settled down, I was like, oh, this is easy. There's people here. I'm getting the energy from the crowd.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I did the math. I think I did like 35 hours of live stream, performance. It was kind of fun. It was really wild at the beginning. It was really wild because there would be like, I'd be like, why are there 130 people watching me on the internet?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like,
so let's hear you, Casey. I'm gonna disappear so you can't hear or see me. Some people are trying to contact me through Facebook, and you have to actually go into Matured Musicians and click on join to for our comments to come up here where Casey and I can see them. So just a heads up. So I'm going to remove myself, Casey.
All right, let me grab my capo real quick.
I'll give you a minute here to get your stuff.
Okay.
All right, I'm out of here. I'll come back when you're done. Well, what Casey's setting up, I do want to say that there's not a lot of money out there to make a living. So I do support your local musicians. And I think most people have Kickstarters or some way that you can get money to them. And hopefully you will have talent and do just that. So I'm going to sign out. All right, Casey, it's all you.
All right, this first song I'm going to do, I just released in December 16th. And I actually ended up recording this. A good chunk of this recording was done at London Bridge Studios locally with Jonathan Plum, who's actually on.
Sorry, I got
This-
a comment on that.
Oh, yeah.
I love Jonathan. I want to go so bad to London Bridge Studio and
You ought to,
hear it
you
set
ought to
up.
take a tour. No, so yeah, sorry. They, I had actually been looking at their stuff for years. I've been familiar with the studio, and I had looked up rates, probably a couple months prior to his interview. And then I saw him. I was like, oh God, I got to contact him.
All
I
right,
had
that'll
some
be
work.
super.
So
Yeah, well,
I actually
love it.
recorded with him. I'm still working with him, so I can
All
talk
right.
about that more in a minute.
All right, perfect.
All right, let's see here. The song's called Tough. You can find it pretty much everywhere. It's on YouTube, streaming services. He used to line them up and then we'd shoot them down. Half empty cup, you fill it up with Crown. Nothing quite like feeling stuck in a small damn town. Man, I'm glad we had each other around. When did it get so tough to see an old friend? Is there something in the way we were living you just needed to end? We know that people change, it doesn't mean that we have to be estranged. Oh, when did it get so tough? When you were dating, dreaming up your bride, fabricating your fairy tale life. She was baiting you with the demons, pushing all your friends aside. And I didn't know if you'd make it out alive. When did it get so tough to see an old friend? Is there something in the way we were living you just needed to end? Did you put you through? Tell me, buddy, what was it with you too? Oh, when did it get so tough? Growing up, slowing down. We got our dogs in the trucks, I got some kids running around. But when that phone rings, we still pick up so we can laugh about the lives we found. But her plans to me never leave the ground. When did it get so tough to see an old friend? Is there something that's so worth hiding, you're lying to defend? I used to call you bluffs, now I'm afraid I don't know you
Bravo, Casey. That was wonderful. That's it? You're not going to play
Thank
another
you.
one? You're not going to
Oh,
do it?
yeah, I could play another one in a minute here.
Okay, let's have one
take
more.
a little break.
And
I need a little break for that.
All right. So,
Drink some water.
where can we find you? I know that I went out to the Mirkwood Jam in Arlington on Wednesday, every Wednesday night from 7 to 11. Richard
Yeah.
Williams and Chris Ager have a jam, and it
Mhm.
was packed and jumping. And
Good.
I didn't know that they had looked things up, but they knew you were coming because they announced it from the
I was
stage.
surprised. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yes, and
Yeah.
they said that you're a regular there, so obviously that's one place we can see you. What's up? What else is coming up?
Let's see. Sometimes they make it down to Little Red Hen. That's been kind of more sporadic.
Yeah,
On Sunday nights they
and no
have their
Cammy
yeah, they got their kind of
and
singer
Billy.
songwriter open mic on Sunday nights. So I try to get down there when I can, maybe once a month. And I've been playing a few shows there as like a special guest. I
Ah,
probably played there like 4 times now. That's pretty fun. They get the whole honky tonk vibe going, packed dance floor. It's pretty entertaining.
yeah.
Cammy knows about that.
Yeah.
I've got a show actually coming up at the Mirkwood this Friday.
Oh,
I'm playing.
everybody hear that? This
Yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. I go on. I think I go on at 8. I play for a couple hours, and I'm playing with another band called the Rut Ditch Groove. So it'll be a full night of music, a little bit of dancing. It'll be a good blend of like Americana, country, and rock.
Yes.
Probably
Classic rock. What
a
kind of
little
rock?
bit, yeah, a little bit of classic rock, a little bit of kind of country rock stuff, newer stuff. And it's probably from like 8 to 12, I'd say. And they got full bar, full food menu. Kids can be there till I think they said 11,
Wow.
which is kind of wild. So I'm
Good
going to try to
family
bring my
place.
kids. But yeah, $10 cover, and yeah, it's been fun up there. They got good sound.
Yeah, they
And
do.
it
I
should
can
be an
attest to
entertaining
that.
night. Yeah, nice sound. Yeah, it's nice on the musicians too. So looking forward to that and future shows up there as well.
Yeah.
So,
I was there, like I said, this past Wednesday night, and their food menu was scrumptious. They changed it. So if you get a chance to eat
yeah,
there, and the price is like, medium price. It's not,
yeah.
it's not too low or too high. It's just right. Okay. Where
Yeah,
else
they
are
got
you
some
gonna
good
be?
burgers there. Let's see. I'm going to be playing the Rustic Cork on the 27th and 28th.
Where is that? I keep seeing it, but I don't know where it is.
Oh, okay. They have a few locations. One of them's in Mill Creek that just opened up in the last year or so. And then the other one's in Lake Stevens, which is by me. So I can drive for like 5 minutes and load in. So it's kind of
Is
nice.
that where you're going to be? That one?
Yeah, that'll be on the 27th and 28th. That's a Friday
Can
and
you
Saturday.
post this on Matured Musicians for us?
I definitely will.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I just put something on there.
Okay.
I thought you sent something about one of your.
I think it was the Rut Ditch Groove show that I'm doing up here in Arlington.
Okay.
It should be worth the drive. It should be a fun night. That band, they're really rock solid, and it'll be fun to see them in a different element.
Yes, absolutely. I got 3 places to go on Friday night. It's like,
Perfect.
oh my gosh, I don't know.
Oh, and I got Jimmy Kohler on bass. I don't know if you know Jimmy. So.
No, I don't. No clue. I don't get out enough. I just get you guys here, and then I have to go out and search for sometimes. So if you have any recommendations that of people that might like to come on my show, let me know.
Okay.
All right. So are you ready for that song yet?
Sure. Yeah, I could do another one here. Let's see. What could I do?
So this new song, "Tough," you already have it out on the Spotify and YouTube, etc.
Yeah, it's Apple Music, all the streaming
Amazon,
services.
yeah, okay. Local, all right, gotcha.
Yeah, I confirmed it's on Amazon as well. Okay. They have a new program, Amazon for Artists, that I was
Yes.
able to log in and saw that. So,
Okay. Good.
yeah, I actually recorded that with a local singer, Erin McNamee.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. So she ended up making it a duet with me. It was pretty fun.
All right. I'm buying out here.
All right, this next song, I will probably be. I'm hoping to release it around March or so. This song's called "When the Grid Goes Down." For dinner by the candlelight. When my food gets low, I'm gonna get some more. I'll bring my 5-finger discount to the corner store. Some homemade meat. When the creek goes down, I can get you anything for free. When the creek goes down, we can finally make ends meet. Maybe, just maybe, we can live a better way. Goes down, we'll be doing just fine. I bought a propane hot tub for the Tractor Supply. It's a hillbilly hook for the morning and nights, and you'll finally see the stars. There won't be any lights no more, no more. Smoking some homemade meat. When the creek goes down, I can get you anything for free. When the creek goes down, we can finally make ends meet. Maybe, just maybe, we can live a better way. I'll be smoking some homegrown green. When the creek goes down, I can get you anything for free. When the creek goes down, we can finally make ends meet. When the creek goes down, we can finally make ends meet.
Bravo. All right. Good song.
Thanks. Sounds
Just,
fun.
just a warning here. We're getting some really, really, really strong wind gusts, and the trees out here are like just absolutely wild, and things are hitting my roof.
Oh no.
So if we get cut off here because of this storm that seems to be moving in here, we hope that's the reason that it's nothing that's wrong with the equipment here.
Yeah, my trees were moving good this morning, but it kind of settled
Yeah.
down by me.
Ooh,
So
it's
hope
nasty
it's all
here.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I live in the Redmond area, and I don't know. It just
Oh,
seemed
okay.
to be a front out here. I'm hoping it's not a tornado.
Ah!
I do that song. There's a song called "Little Big Town," and the song's named "Tornado." If you ever get a
Oh.
chance, and I'm looking out there thinking,
Oh
So
man.
when some final thoughts here, we have about 12 minutes to go, God willing, or storm willing.
Right.
Yeah, I love your songs. I love your music. We know where
Thanks.
you can find you right now. He will be posting on Mature Musicians.
Mhm.
Hopefully, you can post your website and your YouTube channel on here. Do you have a
Sure.
channel? Okay. And then you all know where to find Casey. He's the new boy in town, and he's making waves. So if you look at a 5-year plan,
Oof.
yeah,
Uh-oh. Okay.
these are the trick questions. What do you see in the next 1 to 5 years, Casey? Where are you going with this? What are your aspirations? What are your goals?
What am I doing?
No, your goals.
um, goals. Yeah. Yeah. I've been, it's like a really long string of little goals, and they keep getting a little bigger and a little better. And I've been meeting a lot of those goals, luckily, and I'm happy to do so. Um, I'm working on a full length record. I'm actually working with Jonathan over at London Bridge to kind of
Right.
push through over the next few months. It's going to be 9 or 10 song or 11 song, full album. And I'm trying to release that this summer, and I'll pair that probably with a big party, summer fun concert. And I may or may not take it on the road at the end of next summer if work allows and family life allows. But I've been slowly, methodically trying to be intentional about getting into Seattle, getting to play in some of the spots that I've been kind of putting off for years, quite honestly. Now I feel comfortable enough to play in those venues.
Yeah.
I've made some trips down to LA. I've got friends down there in Portland, and been playing with some other musicians and kind of slowly building up this, maybe an idea of taking a small group on the road from time to time.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's like a huge goal for me. That's like that's like very enjoyable. It's like, because I work full time. I've got 2 kids. I'm always threading the needle to make music work. Honestly, it's like an extremely tight balance. It's a miracle when it works. And so, if I can play music, and especially if I get to play music with other good musicians, I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah,
And the rest is extra. The rest is a bonus. And so, I like my job. I like my balance right now. It's a little crazy. It's not for everybody. Don't try to, don't do what I'm doing. But I know a few other people out there that are working full time and then they play music all weekend, and it's pretty grueling. I don't have it too tough right now. So
we did that for 15 years, and finally I took a 3-year break. So I know what that rat race is like.
Yeah, you get to the weekend and you're like, oh, I'm tired. And it's like, oh, wait, I got 3 gigs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's very rewarding. And yeah, that's kind of always been a goal since I was younger. It's like, fit in music however I can and play with the best musicians I can when I'm in their town or when they come to my town. I mean, that's great. And to be able to kind of blend it with my family, it's not super crazy. So I don't know, I'm pretty comfortable with it right now, which means that probably in like 6 months, I'll totally change everything to make it uncomfortable. It's like natural to want to do that, I guess. But that's where I'm at right now, is just trying to wrap up a record and then just see where that goes, really.
What would you say is the most memorable thing that happened to you, or things, plural, um, that made you feel like you're on the right track and inspired you to keep going? Because I know there are times when all of us feel like, oh, hell, let's go to, let's go, yeah, I don't want
Yes.
this.
Yeah. No, there's plenty of those where it's like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm good. I'm gonna take 5 years off. Yeah. Um, that I'm always struggling with that. You know, even when it's a good gig, sometimes it's just like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. So I kind of try to turn that down, turn that voice down a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, I had been sort of avoiding kind of jumping in a little bit deeper into the music at the end of last year, end of 2021. I'd say I was, I was doing the live streaming. I went straight back into gigging and really kind of pumped the gas a little and started doing more shows. And so I wanted to crank it up a little bit in 2022 and, do more shows, put myself out there, which is scary, as you know.
Yes.
And, and, but then the craziest thing would happen. I went down to LA, which is supposed to be big, intimidating, scary, all these things.
Yeah.
None of that happened. The opposite happened.
Oh,
Because I'd been
nice.
putting, it's like, well, because I've been putting in the work. I just wasn't giving that to myself. It's just, I don't know what I'm doing. And I went down there and it was like, wait, what the hell? Everyone is very welcoming. I don't even know how many people, 50 people or something. I met all these people, played a bunch of shows, shared my music, and like, nothing exploded, no one died, and then it was just like, oh, and that was a good, like, oh, no, I just do this part-time. I'm not a full-time musician. I'm not really working, until I sat down and I really did it. And I played with these guys and all these musicians and I saw how they're living. And I was like, oh, wait, this is my crowd. And that was like an eye-opening experience for sure.
Aha moment.
Like,
Aha.
whoa.
Yeah.
You're doing what I'm doing. Does that mean, we're on the same page here? And that was pretty cool. It was an eye opener for sure. And that was back in February.
Okay. So what would you have to throw out there for those people that a lot of people aren't listening right now, they work. Not everybody's full time. But when they do watch this, and they will, what advice do you have for people kind of walking down similar path with music?
Yeah, I'm usually having to like give myself the advice, like trying to get out of my own, excuses and stuff. I would say to turn down that voice that's saying, "Oh man, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm at the wrong venue. I'm playing too small of a show. Oh, my band's not good enough." All of that stuff I have found time and time again is 100% irrelevant. That maybe that voice is always there for some people, like myself. I should just quit. I'm done. It's just super not helpful. It's just really, it's not something to focus on. But the fun thing to focus on is like, oh man, I feel like I have a terrible gig. There's no one here to listen to me. But then maybe one person out of everybody was like, hey, I really like that one song you did. It's like, oh, that's what you should focus on. Like that's like there. That's
it makes it all worthwhile.
People are listening. Yeah, it makes it worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Turn down that voice a little bit. It's not helpful.
Yeah,
I promise.
Gosh, I've been there. I've been turning that voice down, but you have a bad gig. Like last night, for example, I was out there and nothing I did was, the guys just couldn't get the songs because there was no practice or anything at a jam, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought, why are you listening to that? Just shut it off. It's a jam.
It's not helpful.
Jam. What do you expect?
Well, the craziest thing that I see time and time again is, I have a bunch of anxiety going into something, and I'm, oh god, I played horrible. Last night my guitar, all of a sudden it's distorted, and I'm having issues with my amp. And then what's crazy is that many times afterwards, weeks later, you run into somebody, hey, I really like that set you did. What? And because it's just like in your head.
Absolutely.
Just kind of keep doing,
just keep
Focus
doing.
on what you're doing and what's comfortable to you and what feels right to you, and that's
Exactly.
probably the best long-term thing. The rest
Exactly.
kind of.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Casey. So we do have another commenter who didn't put their names. So hi, Casey.
Oh
And
yeah, I see that with the
I don't know who
electric
it
guitar.
is, but
Rock on.
so we have about 5 more minutes. And I always like to ask tricky questions about this time, but I think I
Okay.
got them all out of you.
Oh, okay.
But I know you mentioned that you have a wife and 2 children
Yes.
and that you have a full-time job and
Yes.
you're doing all this musical stuff.
Mhm.
So my question is, do you have your family support? I think you did say something
Oh
about your
yes.
wife. And how do
Yes.
you think, how critical do you think that is in trying to balance all these things and continue with music?
I think is extremely important, and it's not easy, but I'd say that it's possible. It's doable for a lot of people, and I've met more people that have told me about their regrets. I meet older people that had kids, and they tell me these bummer stories where they're like, I took 30 years off playing music only to realize I could have been doing it. That totally bums me out because I'm like, well, there's two things. I'm working really hard to keep it going. Like it takes a lot of work and planning, and I have to schedule it in to make it happen. Um, but at the same time, I'm honored. Yeah, I'm grateful that I'm able to do it all at the same time, and to play music and to have a supportive family. Yeah, it's got its ups and downs. But
Absolutely.
yeah, having support wherever it is, comes from is, yeah, super important. I've been lucky enough to have that support. It's usually a kick out the door, like, come on, go do the thing go do the thing you were gonna give up on.
Right.
That's just for me. It's
Yeah.
oh
Wonderful.
no, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna wimp out. And then my wife is like, no, go do
Yeah,
that
good.
because music's important, and
Yep.
yeah,
I think that it's very important to have that support from your spouse. My
hmm,
husband is very supportive. In fact, beyond,
good,
he's my roadie, he's my
yeah.
manager, he's my everything. And so, yeah, without that, I don't know. This is would be much too difficult to do. And we do
Yeah.
have a name on that person who said, "Hi, Casey." She said, Michelle, the bass player.
Oh, hey, Michelle. Yeah, she plays up at Mirkwood as
Merkwood.
well.
Ah,
Hmm.
what's her last name? Mare?
Sorry, Michelle.
Mary?
I can't remember your last name.
I know. I think she's on my Facebook page, but
Quite possibly, yeah.
yeah,
I think she just joined the group too.
yeah, she did. By the way, anybody out there knows anybody who would like to do, um, and yeah, it is
Myers.
Maiers, Mares, I think maybe. I don't know. Sorry if I did bad on your name, but I didn't hear your last name. So, but I know what you look like. All right. So if you have anybody that you'd like to recommend, please do. So this pretty much wraps it up. We have like less than a minute to go. I want to thank you so much for performing and
For sure.
interviewing with us and telling your backstory, Casey.
Yeah.
Keep on, and don't let that voice over.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know you won't.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. After Casey's off the screen, I do give a little bit of a shout out about what's coming up. So thank you once again, Casey. Good luck.
Thank you,
And I
Joy.
hope you're welcome. And I hope that gives you a little boost out there. Hope to see you
Yeah.
soon.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye bye.
Bye.
So that concludes our program. Um, I'm trying to remember who I have next week. And I've got an absolute blank mind, but I do have a program coming up. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this. Of all the people, I cannot remember who's next. So I apologize for that, but do watch Matured Musicians. Do watch my Facebook page. It will be on there, and I will be posting this to YouTube because somehow today that just didn't turn on. So we'll get that taken care of. I want to thank you all for all your support. You all take care of We'll see you next week at same time, same place. Oh, one last thing. Do support our musicians, our local musicians. It's a struggle for all of us, and your support and your caring make you the stars of our show, because without you, we couldn't do this. Goodbye, everybody. Take care.